Roy, in 54, 55, when this new music evolved, it kind of seemed to come spring onto the forefront. Where did this music come from to you?
Good question. I first became aware of a sort of a strange music or a new music or new excitement and vitality in music, I think when I went to the University of North Texas in 1954. There were some great records being played, from Johnny Ace to Laverne Baker to Elvis Presley. And that'd be the fall of 54, 55. And I couldn't quite put my finger on it, but I went back home during the holidays from the university, and we played a thing at a honky-tonk in West Texas. And I thought it was coming up to midnight for the new year, and someone requested Shake, Rattle, and Roll. And I didn't know that, but I knew part of it. So at the bewitching hour, we started playing Shake, Rattle, and Roll. And according to my watch, I looked at the clock on the wall, and it said about 9 minutes till. So I was trapped into doing 9 minutes of Shake, Rattle, and Roll. By the time that was over, I was converted, so to a strong backbeat. I think that's when the rhythm caught up with the blues and the melody and everything. It was terrific.
At the time, this music sprung on the American public, and records were starting to be bought. It was a kind of new thing, outlaw music, just different. And a lot of people badmouthed it to a degree because the mainstream Perry Como type middle of the road, which was perfectly fine, was holding forth at the time. When you started recording and when you started playing this music, did you think it was ever going to last and become the music of today?
No, but I was really committed to rock and roll. I was trying to express myself in a new way, sort of. We all were, Elvis and myself and everybody at Sun Records and at Chess Records and all the independents. It seemed to spring from the independents and not the major labels. I remember just writing what I wanted to write, the way I felt. It was more or less a feeling music. Not that other music is not feeling, but it was more of a feeling music. And could have come from the rhythm. And I wasn't really aware that it was a new music altogether. There was a new excitement, and I just played and sang, for my part, how I felt. And I was hoping that I could last, as an artist, that whatever I had to offer would last, but I didn't really worry about it, and I don't think many of us did. We were just working and trying to get a little recognition, trying to make a dollar, and but very much in love with what we were doing. And the future, of course, every year that it lasted longer, I felt a little more comfortable. I felt better each year that went by, and every year seemed to get better and better.
Sun Records was one of the birthplaces of a sound that influenced the entire country and the entire music scene. And you were there in those days. What was it that Sam Phillips had at Sun Records that created this mushroom?
Sam Phillips started recording black artists in about 1952-3, and Elvis came by and wanted to make a record for his mom, and so I don't know whether Sam even knew it or not. He had a good feel for things. He had a good sense of what sounded good and what moved people. But by the time I got there, which was 1956, Elvis had already recorded an album which was sold to RCA, And so he was gone from the label, not gone from Memphis. We did meet my first tour. But the thing at Sun was, it was like a workshop, which was rare in those days. There was a small workshop in Clovis, New Mexico, where Buddy Knox and Jim Bowen and Buddy Holly worked, and where I made my first record. And at Sun, it was the same thing. You could go in and try to make a record. And if it was exciting enough, why, you know, it was released. Now, Sam's advice to me, and I think to most of his artists, he would bring out an Arthur Crudup record, or he'd bring out Mystery Train, or That's All Right. And he said, sing like that. And what he meant was sing with that much enthusiasm and that much feeling. And he didn't explain it that way. He said, sing like that. And of course, I couldn't sing like that. None of us could. But we sort of got the message. And it was a good place to be at the time. Wasn't really big time, but and from our point of view, there were other strongholds, other small places like New Orleans and Chicago making good records. You know, we looked to those other places as well, and it was just a good place to go try out things.
When you first started, I mean, Ooby Dooby was your first hit, I mean, regional hit, but you know, it put you on the map in a way. And it was more of a rock and roll type feeling, up-tempo. And of course, the ballad is what really, you know, you defined your style with. Now, when you were at Sun and they were saying, were they sing in a certain way? I mean, were you singing the kinds of things that you wanted to sing there, or were you singing to, you know, at the beginning to fit into a trend?
I felt very inhibited at Sun because rock and roll was so new to me that, and I had this craving to do love songs or sentimental things or romantic songs with a beat, though, you know, something with a medium tempo. But each time I would try that, why, I remember as Sam Phillips was making records, a young guy came by named Jack Clement, and he was engineering when Sam didn't. And he was there when Jerry Lee Lewis came by to make a record, and they, that afternoon, cut a record called Whole Lot of Shaking Going On. But anyway, I went to do about my third record for Sun, and I sang a few songs, and Jack said, look, Roy, he said, you'll never be able to sing a ballad. He said, forget about that, and let's just go with, you know, this rock and roll, rockabilly stuff. And I see Jack from time to time, and he said, you're still trying to sing a ballad, aren't you? So, no, I didn't feel comfortable at Sun, and I think well, the thing was that when I got to Monument Records, for instance, and they let me do what I wanted to do, we started having success immediately, a big success. But I had a lot of fun at Sun Records with hanging out with Elvis and Jerry Lee and going on the road with Carl and Johnny and everybody. It was a great time. It was very exciting.
Now, I've read that you think that sound at Sun was responsible for you developing such a strong voice. I mean, you've got such a brilliantly strong voice. But those early times, did that, you know, help you develop something there?
Yeah, the thing was with Sun Records, it was very much like, I heard an interview by Harry James once, and he said he started playing in a circus, blowing the trumpet in a circus, when he was a young boy and developed a leather lip. And the thing was that if Harry had not been able to play all evening at the circus, well, then he wouldn't get paid. The same thing with us, basically, because I have a very strong voice, blessed with a strong voice, and so did Presley, so did Johnny Cash, and Jerry Lee, all of us, in fact. And that's from having to sing, I think, over the instruments in the studio. It was a very small studio at Sun, and cranking up the amplifiers and the drums and all that, and the technology wasn't such that they could pick up a voice as they should, so you had to sing louder and longer. Of course, if you couldn't sing, you didn't get the record made, or if you didn't sing at the dances for 6 hours, you didn't get paid. So I think it's in part responsible for all the big voices,
Okay.
Marker?
Well, what's the first thing that comes to your mind when I say Chuck Berry?
Maybelline. I was doing a television show in Odessa, Texas, and wasn't writing many songs. In fact, in order to be a success at the time, television was fairly new to the area. And I learned everybody's songs to get, 10 songs a program. And Chuck was tailor-made for me. He was terrific, Once he gets a song written just right, why, anybody can sing it,
What do you think was unique about his sound, or unique about him?
My first impression of Chuck was that he was a black country singer, sort of. It was rhythm and blues, but it wasn't so rhythm and blues at the time. Sort of with a country flavor. That may sound very strange, but it was. I still feel that way. I still feel very strongly that Chuck might have been a mixture of first rock and roll, rhythm and blues, and then some country. His way with words and things. But I learned all of his songs, and I was in Odessa, Texas in '55 and '6 when Elvis came to town, and he sang Maybelline, and we sang Maybelline, and we'd go play dances or jamboree things. Everybody sang Chuck's songs, then and now, and yeah, it was something that you didn't question. You didn't say, well, I wonder if that's going to be a hit. Nobody ever did. We just learned them and started right in,
What's your favorite Chuck Berry song?
My favorite Chuck Berry song oh boy, that's a good one. Could be Memphis, but I mean, how do you leave out Sweet Little 16 and all that, all that clever stuff, and Nadine and all that. All of them are my favorites.
What the coming out of Texas, and at the time the emergence of this music, which is really a combination of white and black music, and performers starting to mix and play in the same concerts and so forth. What was that like?
As a singer and a songwriter and all, the impact of black and white artists and Latin American artists and all, it wasn't strong with me. I mean, I didn't know any difference. I used to go wherever somebody was playing music, I'd sit down and be at home and feel good about it. I think that's I think the mixture made the music. I think the different influences made the music and made it exciting. I remember touring all over the country in '56. We drove by station wagon and Cadillacs and all, but no big buses or flying. We'd drive everywhere and play all these shows, and there didn't seem to be any difference in the North and the South, the East and the West. The audiences loved us all. It was terrific.
One of the things that I'm interested in, because when you first start playing, at the very beginning, whether it's when do you go professional, when are you amateur, and so on, day jobs, musicians, and was there some work that you did before you started playing music as a profession?
I tried all kinds of jobs. I always knew that I would be a singer. And my father asked me when I was about 6 or 7, if I was going to be a policeman or a fireman or what. I said, no, I'll be a singer. And but I tried everything. I was a paper boy. I sacked groceries. I worked for the county. Shoe shine boy. And then between high school and college, the first year, I worked for El Paso Natural Gas Company in Texas, and very hard laboring work. And that spurred me on to greater things, to inspired me to be a singer, a good one, because I didn't enjoy that at all. But I tried the jobs, and I really always wanted to be just successful enough that I wouldn't have to work, that I could write songs all day. And then, of course, more success, and then I wanted to be a hit recording artist, and then I wanted to be all things. But no, I left the day jobs behind a long time ago.